Soundstripe.
Trying to get a lot of dough. Anything is possible. Turn me up in the headphone.
Soundstripe.
Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of goals. Stack that bread and by my nose. Anything is possible. Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Hey. Oh man, I got a lot of goals. Stack that bread and by my nose. Anything is
Welcome back to the XandOSports Show. I'm your host, Ricky D. Stan. I hope everybody's doing well. As you know, around the sports world is going crazy right now. You have everything in full effect. You have football in full effect. You have basketball, which is the regular season is ending. Now you're coming up on the actual playoffs, which I would try to cover some of that. The NFL draft is coming up. You got track going on. You got baseball in full effect. And there's a lot going on. But I actually help with T-ball, which my son plays. And I actually help with high school track. So I get to develop some of these kids at their rawest ability. And I try to measure their success by, how well they're actually doing. So you get to do it over a couple of years, so hopefully, it goes pretty well. That's where a lot of my time goes to, so that's why I can't put out as many episodes as I would like all at once, but it's fun. But let's talk about some football. One of the biggest stories during the offseason this year so far is surrounded around Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson did a video last year or year and a half ago, and a lot of his fans didn't like it because the title of it was, "Is Lamar Jackson Elite?" And at the time, he was not classified as elite. He was a great player, but he was not classified as elite. And I went into that video and said why he wasn't. And I also stated part of it wasn't his fault because of the offense they had and the play calling. And he's a dynamic athlete. And they also stated he has an accuracy problem. And I went back and pulled the statistics of his Heisman year and the runner-up of the Heisman year, and some of the stuff that he did well. And I explained in the video why he wasn't elite, but it wasn't taking a shot at him. But a lot of fans, took personal shots like, when the last time the Eagles won a Super Bowl? And it just happened that, I think when I dropped that video, it was like 2021. And I was like, 2017 was when we won. But neither here nor there. But a lot of the surrounding effects have been around Lamar Jackson. I'll also put that video at somewhere in the bio, so you can actually go back and look at that video and see if I was right or if I was wrong. So let's get right into it. Like I said, I started the podcast around that time, and I got a lot of flack about that video. However, I wasn't wrong, apparently, according to what people see now. In the video, I listed that he was not elite yet, as I stated already, and the fans didn't like it. And I watch the NFL, and I do grading off of the eye test, their physical ability, and how they process information. That's how I pretty much come up with my grade. It's not a secret of how I do it. And I tell people that because I watch how these guys get graded in NFL, and that's how I grade some of them. Now, some of them, like I said, off the eye test. Now, some of the analysts don't watch film. They watch highlights. It's a difference. I watch the flaws of someone's game as well as the good part. So I can see, okay, he's good at this, but he's not good at this. Well, let's do more of this when play calling to keep him out of situations like this. That's how I would do it. But a lot of these analysts don't look for that. They just look at the highlights and then try to get something to throw on the internet real quick. So, like I said, his rushing and his passing has been decent. Now, I say decent because if it's a passing league, so it's really under my opinion, like I said, just my opinion, and for the subscribers or the people that watch this, there's no reason why NFL quarterback should ever throw under 3,000 yards now. No, there shouldn't be. It's a passing league. It's passing heavy. You got quarterbacks now throwing up to 60 times a game. So that's why I feel like there should never be anybody, at the minimum, even if you didn't start every game, it should be at least 3,000 yards. So, MVP year, Lamar Jackson had a pretty good year. But before we get into those stats, Lamar Jackson can win games with his arm and his leg. Let's be clear about that. He can. And I had a problem with some of the stuff they were actually saying because they were like, oh, he's not durable and he can't do this, he can't do that. In college, he played in a pro-style offense. He threw, if I'm not mistaken, 60% the 2 years he was up for the Heisman. But in the NFL, for some reason, they have these formations with 2 and 3 tight ends, and they got him running the option all day like he cannot throw the football. He can throw the football. Now, is he throwing it like Drew Brees in his prime? No, he's not. But the thing is, the play calling is what gets me. This is when you try to get like a scheme to fit a player. He is a dynamic athlete with his legs, but he can throw the ball. And I just don't like the play calling. Like, you, in his fourth, about to be fifth year, you should be calling triple option. You should not be calling option read in his fifth year. Like, if you do, great, that's because you want to get a first down, not because that's the main part of your offense. That should never be part of his offense. Russell Wilson started off like that, cool, but he also developed as a passer. So, like I said, they showed off the offense, but I also stated a year and a half ago in the video, this is how Lamar Jackson get the big contract. I said, control what you can control and at least throw 4,000 yards, maybe 1,000 yards rushing. So people was like, oh, he had 3,100 yards passing, but he had 1,200 yards rushing. So that's a good year, great. But the thing is, you don't get paid to run the football. He get paid to throw the football. If he gets 4,000 yards passing and 1,000 yards rushing, great. That helped his team win. But that's not how he get paid, and people don't understand this. That's why they came at me in the comments last time. And clearly I'm right, because they still haven't gave him a high-end contract. And he's turned down deals that he didn't like, which is fine. But his MVP year, he threw for 3,127 yards. 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Awesome year passing the ball. Like I said, it was only his second year, so I didn't expect him to throw 4,000 yards. But he had 1,206 yards rushing and 7 touchdowns. That is awesome. But the only thing that's negative towards him now is he has not touched 3,000 passing yards since. Like I stated, they throw the ball way too much in the NFL now for him not to throw 3,000. I understand, well, he was banged up. Okay, he played 12 games. So before they changed the 18 games, he was playing up to 16 games. Well, how many games they play now? But the thing is, he only missed 4 games. You can still throw 3,000 yards in 12 games. I've seen it done. So the fact that he hasn't thrown 3,000 yards since, he's been nicked up and banged up, they're using that against him now. They're saying, oh, he's not durable. He doesn't have it anymore. He still got it. But this is the thing is, I don't like that they're using it against him. And he had early success. He had success early. But now if you look at the statistics of the people that's going to pay him, it looks like he's trending downward. Go back and look at it. You'll see. So, like I said, and the NFL contracts are statistic heavy. Why do you think all these average quarterbacks got paid a lot of money? Because statistically, they're doing fine. On the highlights, they're not. So a prime example, use Derek Carr. Derek Carr is thrown for 4,000 yards a lot of times. And he got an extension, I think, once or twice. But the thing is Derek Carr better than Lamar Jackson? Absolutely not. I like Derek Carr, but no, it's just, they're two different players. But the durability and his numbers decreasing is the hesitation of why they won't give him what he wants. And the owners do take that stuff into consideration. Because me personally, if I was looking at Lamar Jackson and I was like, oh, he got an ACL tear this year, or he got an MCL the following year, and his numbers are decreasing, yes, I would consider putting something or a clause in there that will protect us if we paid him $200 million. So don't shoot the messenger. This is how they grade it. Now, it took a lot of time to figure out how they did this, because if you look at, I want to say the guy that played for the Rams, he plays for Detroit now. Forgot his name right now. But the thing is, he got paid off of statistics. He was trending upward. He caught it at the right time. However, as soon as it showed that he couldn't do it anymore, he got cut and got traded. Sorry, no, he got traded. He didn't get cut. So, however, if Lamar decides to play for the Ravens or another team, he can still win games. Is he elite statistically? No, he is not. Is he a dynamic player? Yes. So if Lamar Jackson somehow is like, hey, I'm going to do a 1-year deal with y'all, and he throws for 4,000 yards and 1,000 yards rushing, even if he made the playoffs, somebody going to pay him 5 years, $200 million. They will. Just because that's the market now. Now, is he still in the top 10? Gifted-wise, yes. Statistically, no, he's not. But remember, how do you get paid? Statistics. So, all right. So right now, who will pay Lamar Jackson? I can tell you right now, the Falcons will pay him. The Vikings could use an upgrade. The Raiders all could use upgrades at quarterback. Now, the Colts, I think they're going to go a little younger, but they won't do bad if they had him either. Like I said, if I'm not mistaken, they got the Eagles offensive coordinator, and they can run the same style of offense that Jalen Hurts is running, and I think Lamar Jackson would be pretty good at that. Because he can change games, but he needs the right signal caller. That is key. If he doesn't get the right signal caller and get a defensive-minded coach, it's going to stink up his career. So many coaches try to wrap their offense to make the player fit the scheme. Why not just make your offense tweaked to fit the guy? So prime example, when I was in college, when I first came in as a freshman, we had a guy that ran 4.4, probably 4.3. Dual threat. He's a better runner than thrower. He can still throw it, though. The offense was built around his legs and his ability to throw it down the field. The next year, we had a guy that ran a 4.9, probably 5 flat. I'm just being very nice. But he can throw it with anybody. We moved our offense towards what he did better. The offense still called the same plays, as just the running style was just different. You can tweak your offense to whoever you have as a signal caller. That was the true definition of tweaking your offense so it works. It still ran the same plays. It just looks a little different on paper. Instead of the option read, we're going to give it, and we're going to seal the back end off the option. We're going to block that defensive end now instead of just leaving him, because our guy was not going to pull that option. We did it every now and then because they knew that he wasn't going to pull it. He'd break for 10 yards before he gets touched. But like I said, you can always tweak the offense. But, which is a good segue, because we're going to talk about a little bit of the quarterback draft picks this year. So some people reached out to me and asked me what my thoughts were. And I love when people reach out because, it shows me that they care about my opinion, which I like. The fact that before I get into this year, in 2020, I made it very clear that Joe Burrow would be a solid quarterback coming out, and he's a definitely number 1 pick. Now, did I think he was going to do what he's doing now? Yeah, but not as early. I was thinking like, third, fourth year, maybe. No, Joe came in, first year he got hurt, but he lit it up. Like, he showed his toughness. He showed that he can play. Second year, he went to the Super Bowl. Last year, he didn't play bad at all. So I felt like it made me feel good because I was like, okay, I think Joe will be solid, definitely number 1 pick. The following year, the same year they had Tua and Justin Herbert. I had both of those with the first round grade. Both of them. Justin Herbert, he surprised me because I was like, he coming out of the Oregon offense, will he actually be able to translate? And he has. He just ain't got the big wins yet because he's an AFC. Tua, I didn't feel like he was injury prone, but I felt like he had to get healthy before he make his splash to the league. I felt like he's trending in the right direction. This fact, unfortunately, he's in the AFC too. But he played very well last year, even though he got a little banged up. But some of these guys that they're giving first-round grades to, I didn't have. Now, even my quarterback, Jalen Hurts, I didn't give him a first-round grade. I said at least late second, early third, and we took him in the second round. I was okay with that because I felt like Carson Wentz was in the future anyway, even though he got there. But neither here nor there. I did not have a first-round grade for Jordan Love. I was like, who is this guy? And they was like, well, go watch the tape. I did. And I'm still saying, who is this guy? He played okay. Why do y'all think that y'all can hype these guys up and think that you can get them in the first round and think they're going to play? The tape does not lie. Turn the tape on. There are some guys that don't get the recognition to be a first-round pick or a second-round pick, and they're dogs. Like, they can play. And then you got guys that just got good people on their team from the media. And they hype these guys up, and they be bust. Prime example, the following year after that. These are the list of quarterbacks, and I actually did a video on it, and if I can remember, I'll put that one in here too. They had Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, and Mac Jones. I said Trevor Lawrence, definitely the first overall pick. Justin Fields is the only first-round pick outside of those guys. Those two guys said, I didn't even have Justin in the top 3. I said, but if somebody that needed a quarterback bad enough, they would go get him. I was okay with that. I felt like Justin Fields got a bad deal with the Bears. I still feel like he's a first-round quarterback. However, let's get on to Trey Lance. I said absolutely not. First of all, he didn't even play the year they drafted him. He didn't play because of COVID. But even when I watched the tape, I'm looking like he ain't playing against nobody. It didn't really show a whole lot of flash. He just looked like a man amongst boys. So if you take a fish that's this big and put it in a pond this big, of course he looks dominant. But I was like, he hadn't played anybody. So I said no on that one. I was like, you can draft him late, be a project-style quarterback and develop him, maybe. Then you turn around and you got Zach Wilson. I said absolutely not. The Jets pick him before Justin Fields, and Trey Lance goes before Justin Fields. I'm just like, are you kidding me? And then Zach Wilson, they already kicked him to the curb. Then you got Trey Lance. Injury saved him last year because he was going to get benched or possibly cut going into this year. Jimmy G had to bail them out, and then Jimmy G gets hurt, and the third string comes in. So if 3 different quarterbacks played in that system, right? Follow me down the yellow brick road. And they still kept winning no matter who was at quarterback. Does that tell you that the offensive coordinator is that good? Or he just got a whole lot of good quarterbacks on his staff? You answer that part. So, like I said, Zach Wilson, no offense to him, I knew he was going to be a bust in New York. I didn't even have him going in the 3rd or the 4th round pick. I'm like, who is this dude? And I didn't like. I think he played for BYU. I didn't like what I saw. Like I said, he made some plays. He looked like a Dollar General version of Johnny Manziel. That was my personal opinion. But the thing is, this is what I saw. And when I saw it on Sundays, he showed us the same thing. So it's not like, I just don't like him. It's just the fact that he was not the 1st round grade. Who else is on that list? Trey Lance. I was very critical of him. He's proven right, even with the injuries. Let me see. Going into the next year, that was the weakest draft of them all, the following year, which was last year. I looked at that draft. I'm looking like none of these dudes going 1st round. Did they play good in college? Yeah, they did. I think the Riley kid played good. No 1st round grade. The kid from Pittsburgh. He ended up going to the Steelers. He was the only one I gave a 1st round grade to, and he went late 1st round. I was like, that's what I would have drafted him at. He was not a number 1 overall pick, but he was good enough to get drafted in the 1st round. So I didn't have a problem with that. Kenny Pickett, that was his name. The thing is, these analysts are constantly hyping these guys up. They're not even top 50 picks, and then right before the draft, they go number 1. I'm looking like, no. So, some of these dudes are mediocre at best, but this year we got Bryce Young. I like Bryce Young. Bryce Young, to me, in my opinion, unfortunately, is only 5'10". That is the only negative I have about Bryce Young. He can throw it. He can process the information fast enough, and he's very athletic. He surprised me with that 4.5. I didn't think he was that fast, but he can run. He's not an option-style quarterback. He can throw it. You can give him, a high-low concept down the field, and he can figure it out, whether it's cover 6, is cloud coverage. He can figure it out. I like it. He can process it on the fly. Sometimes he gets hit in the chops and he gets back up. Only negative I have against him is he's 5'10". But put him in the shotgun. He can do it. And if you do go on the center, call something that he can actually run. The next quarterback I had is C.J. Stroud at Ohio State. C.J. Stroud, I feel like, has what I hated. When I hated in high school, when they labeled the quarterbacks, they had to have a certain build. They have to be 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", be able to see over the line of scrimmage. But, I was only 6'2". But this kid CJ has the build, he has the size, and he has the arm. And some guys, when they have a big arm, they kind of lack accuracy. He doesn't lack accuracy, which I do like. And I really feel that he can start day 1 for somebody. Like I said, Bryce Young, his ceiling right now is, I say Drew Brees. His ceiling, that would be his ceiling. Now, could he be better than Drew? We don't know. It's a long time from here. But I think his ceiling will be Drew Brees. C.J. Stroud, I want to say a more athletic Ben Roethlisberger. He can get it down the field. He can make plays. But I think he's going to be a definitely start right away type guy. Now, they have one more guy. And I don't really think I really think I don't want to give a negative vibe towards this guy. He's an athlete, and that's it. He's an athlete. I don't think this guy's going to be that good. Like Anthony Richardson, the quarterback from the University of Florida. Nothing against him. He works out hard. He does what his coaches ask him to do. I heard he got good character, but I do not see this dude being number 1 overall. And some people say he might slip. He might jump up to number 1. You would be a fool to take him. Now, if so happen, if Anthony gets drafted number 1 overall and becomes a Hall of Famer, I would get on this mic and up here and say I was wrong. I will say it, but I don't see it. I watched him play last year. His best game was against Tennessee, and after that, everything else was mediocre. His delivery was late. He didn't understand what he was seeing as the defenses were setting up. He didn't play traditionally well to me. He didn't even throw 3,000 yards in a passing college league. All these bubble screens and plays they call now, and you can't throw for 3,000 yards. He played every game. Dual threat or not, I don't think he has to be the number 1 pick. But it was like, oh, well, people will work with him. You will need to. If you're going to take him that high, I guarantee you, whoever calls that call and he goes number 1, either they're going to get a promotion if he's great or they're going to get fired if he's not. I'm thinking they're going to get fired. Don't do it. I think he could be good, but not. So the reason why I don't put first-round grades on certain players is because of the fact that if you take a first-round quarterback and he doesn't pan out, you just lost that pick. But if somehow you take him, you get him in the 3rd round, you don't lose anything. And if he does do well, then you pay him. But we will all find out in due time. But as for time, this is mine. I'm your host, Ricky G. Stanley. Make sure you follow us on Instagram,
anything is possible,
as well as Twitter. And make sure you follow and subscribe on my YouTube channel. But you guys know the slogan. I'm your host.
Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and by my nose. Anything is possible. Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Hey. Oh man, I got a lot of gold. Stack that bread and